What's going on, Gallop crew? Ryan Anderson here. Quick video to highlight Horseshoe Indianapolis for this week. There's a pick five and a pick four carryover for today, Wednesday, August 12th, out at Horseshoe Indy in Shelbyville. Let's get right to it. We're going to dive into the late pick five today. It's going to start in race number 4. Just some highlights I think you should key in on if you're going to play this sequence to start things off. We have a 5 furlong state bred maiden race. Keep in mind they are off the turf today. They're in the slop. So obviously be on the lookout for some scratches that are taking place in here. Top pick is going to go to the number 8, Trick Shot Tommy. Has some nice works coming in over the synthetic. There's you can kind of make the argument that those synthetic works, because they're similar to turf, those are somewhat similar to the slop, and they can sometimes translate like that. But more importantly, sharp as Tekka on the top side. You can see very good with those dirt sprinters, good on the wet dirt, a nice 16% overall. For Bill Morey, who's very capable first time out, seems to have a live one here with Joe Ramos taking the call. I would also include the number 3, Captain Shaggoff. Showed really nice speed first time. Marcelino Pedroza sticks aboard for the second start. Gennaro Garcia, another red hot trainer, out at D. So 3-8 would be the keys for me to kind of start off this sequence. Race number 6, they're going 5 furlongs in an off the turf event on the slop. A lot of scratches in here. Scratch the 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 10, and 14. I am going to go, however, to the number 12, Special Sauce. This is going to be my single in this sequence. I feel like this horse has faced a lot better. Practical Jokes seem to really, really love the off-going. Evan Roman's going to take the call here. This one comes in off a bit of a layoff, but you see Gennaro Garcia, 13% down at the bottom, 60 to 180 days on the layoff. Comes in here. I do think faces a bit of an easier group here. Has that outside speed, has that tactical ability. I would expect Evan Roman to get this one in good spot early and take them all the way. Certainly to the outside, you do have Good Call, who has a bit of early speed as well, but seems to kind of like having a target to close into. So I would anticipate Special Sauce being on the front end, as that is where she has done a lot of her best running. Some of the capable ones in here, but I do think Run Camila Run is going to take a lot of money. I don't know that her dirt form is all that impressive. There's another one in here, the number 5, Collective Beauty, who is likely going to be the favorite for Brad Cox, and I suppose has some dirt breeding in here with that Collected, although I personally kind of prefer Collecteds to be running on the turf. You can see 17% on the off going on the wet dirt. That is, I would expect the number 5, Collective Beauty, to be favored. But that run on this in the slop, at the fairgrounds in December of last year, I felt like it left a little bit more to be desired. I know it was only 5-1 that day. Lost to Paving, who was a good horse. That being said, drew in towards the outside that day and really had no excuse. They did go fast early. Didn't really seem to make up any ground, and kind of ran that same race that she always runs. So to me, that's a vulnerable favorite in here. I'm going to go with the 12. I would also give the rail horse a look if you do look to spread in this leg. Tis in Sight, I think, is very live in this spot. You can see if you go back through the form, has some really nice run lines where this one's able to pass some horses. I do think there's a slight chance that they heat things up, being out of a Pioneer the Nile Dam and by Tis the Law. This one certainly should handle the off-going. Race number 7, 5.5 for the state bred Indies. This one scheduled for the dirt, of course, still in the slop. You do have plenty of pace in here. This would be definitely a spread for me. I think you go many different directions, but if you did want to press up a horse, the number 8, Relentless Chick, seems like the horse that's going to be favored. This is the horse that's cleared the condition multiple times and ran above this condition. Her one kind of iffy is she's only run on the good listed surface once. She's not run yet on a sealed racetrack, but it's probably not going to be an issue. These are really high profile connections out at Indy. I would anticipate this one to take a lot of money. I do think she could be a little bit vulnerable, though. I do think the number 9, Zealous Justice, has enough early speed to maybe make things a little bit uncomfortable for her in the early stages. I think Shanghai Express is capable of running a much better race. Excuse me, has some really good races on the wet going. That 3-back effort in the allowance race coming back at Indy, I thought was really strong. Closed into a slow pace that day. That was over a similar surface that you're going to see today. Of course, no two sloppy tracks are alike. This one going to be in for the tag on the slight class drop. Was inverse opens last time. Lost to Tennessee Honeybee, who, if you remember, won a stake race out at Keeneland last year. I want to say it was the Ben Ali. So good company lines there. Race number 8, one of 2 stake races on the card today. This one's a mile for the 3-year-old fillies, of course, for the Hoosiers. You have Spirited Justice in here, who has done so little wrong on the main track. But if you want to take her, this might be a good spot to kind of take that chance, because she's going to be doing something new for the first time. And I don't think she's going to be favored in this spot. There is a chance that she's going to be, at which case I would probably try and fade her. But she's done very little wrong. She's a very hard trying 3-year-old filly. Some others to mention here, the number 3, Lady Chaos for Robert Dobbs, I felt also on the stretch out should make some noise. This one has some nice tractability, and this one can kind of be placed wherever. Obviously, you see the 2-back allowance win, where this one was up on the front end, but then broke the maiden from well off the pace. So I like where this horse can be positioned early, because this horse can be positioned kind of anywhere. Next up, Eltinge, for Marcelino Pedrosa. I don't love this one. It has a couple route efforts to get back to. I felt like failing is the favorite both of those times. This horse probably does not want the 2-turn distance. Any others to mention in here would be the number 7, Grand Harbor, off a career best performance in the Hoosier Bride Sophomore handicap. This one came from off the pace that day. Sprinting, has to stretch back out. A lot of these have very similar running styles, so it's going to be interesting to see who kind of gets that position early. And for that reason, I probably would avoid the outside horses. They're probably just going to be caught a little bit too wide. The finale, race number 5 in the sequence, but it's going as race number 9, leg 5, I should say, but going as race number 9. It's for the boys in the snack handicap, going a mile off the turf. Look, toss Tiana Richardville at your own peril. Mr. Sledgehammer, I think, can sit a really nice trip in here. This is certainly going to be a horse I want to use on my tickets. This is a horse that has handled the good going before, as you see that effort about 5 back, got a win over the surface, and seems to be in some good form. Maybe hasn't gotten quite the setup this one wants. I'm hoping that Crispin has this one just placed a little bit more forward into the race from that inside draw, and that should help this one's chances. Other ones to mention in here, I do think Brazilian Conexal is how I'm going to say it. I do feel like this one can be well placed with a lot of that early speed and ability, and sometimes we see those wet tracks play towards speed. So I do think the number 4, and for that reason, the number 5, Mystic Justice, Gennaro Garcia with Marcelino Pedrosa, is also going to be a play. I think my top pick in here, though, got to go to the number 6, Mr. T. Last ran in the Indiana Derby routing for just the 4th time, but the first time versus Open Company this season, when trained by Justin Bailey. Gets LASIK, though, for the first time, and that might make a real difference. Obviously, I think was a little bit over his head last time out in the Indiana Derby, but if you looked at that effort 2 back, obviously that was going 5.5, then ran in the Lexington. You got to go back to that 2-year-old season, but that 2-year-old season, I think those route races are really strong. I think all of his races on the main track were really strong. The slop's definitely going to be a bit of a question, but some sloppy, some mutter breeding, if you will, in the pedigree there. That's essentially going to wrap it up. Last one to mention, number 10, Oscar D. I do think that 2-back effort, obviously over the sloppy sealed track here at Indy, those were meant to be turf horses as well, just like this field. Drew the rail that day, got to the front, and that was all that needed to be said. I think there's a lot of other speed in here, not going to be able to go that slow pace, but that is one where on the speed figures, I would want to respect that one a little bit. Quick show today, as I mentioned, but pick 5 and pick 4 carryovers out at Horseshoe Indy. Be sure to play through your bets. This show of the Gallop Out was sponsored by our friends at Caesars and Horseshoe Indianapolis. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you for the next one.